Let's kick off with business and immigration law updates. This will be a presentation of the Khurana law firm from Gaithersburg, Maryland. Here, the chief attorney and counselor at immigration law is Mr. Ramesh Khurana. On this set, attorney Kenneth Haber questions attorney Khurana on visa or exchange visitor visa appropriate for exchange visitors. Let's take a look.
Good morning. My name is Kenneth Haber. I'm a former assistant United States attorney and a former senior attorney from the Office of Inspector General of the United States Department of Health and Human Services. And this is the Capitol Forum. With us today is well-known international immigration attorney Ramesh Khurana. Welcome, Ramesh.
Thank you, Ken, for inviting me to this studio.
My pleasure.
I'm pleased to be here.
Well, we're pleased to have you.
Thank you.
And today we are going to be discussing the J-1 visa and its implications for those who need to come here and use the benefits of the J-1 visa. Can you explain what the J-1 visa is and some of the benefits?
Yeah, sure. J-1 visa is basically an exchange visitor program. People come on J-1 visa who want to come to the United States as students, starting from higher education, including higher secondary schools, and those who want to come here as research scientists or doctors who want to come and do their residency in the United States to obtain MD degree. So this is very handy and very helpful because that's the way they come to the United States, and once they have come to the United States and acquire the necessary training or necessary education, then they probably can apply for change of status to H-1Bs or green cards, depending upon what their situation is.
Very good. How long can a J-1 program last?
It all depends. You know, the key person or key organization which plays a role here in grant of J-1 visa is the program sponsor. Now, the program sponsor is approved by the US State Department. Once the program sponsor is approved, then program sponsor will be regulating this program for the J-1 visa holder. What the program sponsor has to do is basically he has to plug in the information in the SEVIS system. SEVIS system is Student Exchange Visitor Information System, and he has to generate a form which is 2019, DS form 2019, and this form will have all the necessary information like who has funded this program, what's the name of the applicant, what is the address, and how his education or program is going to be funded, if it is funded by the US government or US agency or by the host country. It has all the information, and it may have an information whether this person is going to be subject to the 2-year home country residency requirement. So it all depends like what is your program. So your J-1 status is linked to the program as approved by the program sponsor.
What is the 2-year home country requirement?
That's a very good question, and I think most of the J-1 holders, they are concerned about the 2-year home country residency requirement. When a person has come on J-1, and if you look at the J-1 visa stamp on their passports, now there is a notation. It is subject to INA section 212E. Now when this notation appears, on the face of it, it looks like that this person before can apply for change of visa category or change of status from J-1 to H's or L's or green cards. The person has to go back to his or her home country and spend physically 2 years. Physically spend 2 years before this person can apply for change of status, unless that person is eligible for some kind of waiver.
And what sort of waivers do they have for these people?
When we are talking about the waivers, it depends. First of all, the question to be examined is, was there any funding involved by the US government? Was there any funding involved by the home country? Now, when there is a funding by the home country, at that point of time, we ask that person to obtain a no objection certificate from the home country government. Now, let us say that person has come on J-1 visa from India. Now, the HR Human Resources Department, which is part of the Education Department basically. Now, Human Resources Department will handle this kind of application, and they will issue a no objection letter, and this no objection letter will be routed through the US Embassy in Washington DC. So, once that no objection letter is come, then you have to register the case with the US State Department, and then no objection letter will be forwarded by the US Embassy in Washington DC to the State Department direct. And then State Department is going to look at the application for waiver. Now, so no objection is there, and there is a sponsor again. Now, so let's say that person came here to do his PhD. He has completed his PhD. Now, he has got certain qualifications which can prove that he is a person of extraordinary ability, or he is a person of exceptional ability. So, based on that, he can self petition to file for the green card, and before he can file a petition for the green card, he has to obtain a waiver of the 2-year physical home country residency requirement. Unless this waiver is with him, he cannot change his status from J-1 to the green card. So, he will file that waiver application with the State Department, and once the application is approved, the approval will be conveyed to the USCIS. So, when you file your EB1 category or extraordinary ability based green card petition, it will go to USCIS, and you enclose a copy of the waiver which has been approved by the State Department. Then it becomes an eligible case for change of status.
If a person doesn't get a change of status and their J status expires, do they have a grace period?
Yes, they do. In fact, they have a grace period of 30 days once the status expires. Now, this grace period is meant only for the person to pack up and go. This 30-day period is not meant to afford an opportunity to do anything else. This person cannot work. This person is most likely, I would say, is very hard to extend the J-1 status. This person should go back to his home country. If this person wants to come back to the United States, then again he has got to be sponsored by the program sponsor, and he has to come on a new J-1 visa.
And that's for continuing residency program?
For any kind of program which the program sponsor can sponsor him depending upon the eligibility criteria. Like for every J-1 case, the particulars will be incorporated into the service system, and at that point of time, new form DS 2019 will be generated, and based on the new form DS 2019 payment of fee, that person will have to apply for J-1 visa in his or her home country.
When the say resident graduates or completes his residency program and he doesn't go on for further education and he wants to get a job there, I take it that that's not the J-1 anymore that he's applying for. He's not going to be able to claim that the employer is his sponsor, is he?
If a person has completed his MD degree here, now, and if he is subject to your home country residency requirement, he has to go unless he is sponsored by any government agency. And there are certain programs, let's say there are certain unserved medical areas which are deficient in terms of medical doctors. So, those agencies are willing to sponsor these kinds of doctors. If a doctor says that I am willing to serve in this medically unserved or underserved areas. So, when the government agency which becomes interested in this particular petition, they can file for the waiver. And once the waiver is granted, then this person can change the status to H-1B. And other thing is, if let us say that it's not possible to obtain the waiver, or government agency is not interested in filing any waiver application, the person can go back to his home country and even come back on O1 visa. You know, O1 visa is again meant for people of extraordinary ability, which we have discussed in other sessions, and he is to meet those criteria. If he meets with those criteria, if O1 is granted, then he can come and work on O1.
Would the Public Health Service be one such agency that could sponsor him for the underserved areas, or the Indian Health Service? Are those what you're talking about?
Yes. Any agency or instrumentality which is owned by the US government, they can apply for the waiver application.
How long can a J-1 program last?
You know, it all depends upon the program. What kind of program sponsor has created a program and generated DS 2019, and usually what we say is this person has DS, or duration of status, and this duration of status is determined by the length of the training or education or the research program. And once that research program terminates, your J-1 terminates.
If they get into a research program, can it be a paid research program?
Yes, yes. Most of the time it's a paid research program. These people can get paid.
So they can start out going to medical school.
Yes.
They can then take a residency.
Yes.
And then they can take a fellowship.
Sure.
And then they can get a research program.
Sure.
And get paid for it.
Yes.
And stay there as long as there's research to be done and
Yes.
they're wanted.
Yes.
Not
But
bad.
most of the doctors I have seen, they get sponsorship from different government agencies, and their waiver applications are granted, and they change their status from J1 to H1.
Once they're in H1, they can work towards getting an adjustment of status for
Oh yes.
resident aliens.
Then they are like normal H1B visa holders, and once the waiver is granted, this is forever, and people can change their status. Like if they get married to US citizens, so they can apply for change of status based on marriage, and that is also a ground for waiver, because they can make an argument if this person has to go to the home country and complete the home residency requirement, exceptional hardship will be caused to the US citizen. So that itself is a ground, depending upon.
Well, do you have any last word for the viewing audience concerning this?
Yeah, sure can. I'll be happy to do that. Again, this is a very complex world. When we are talking about J1 visas, always talk to your competent immigration lawyer so that you are put on the right path. Thank you very much. Appreciate being with us.
Thank you for coming on in.
Thank you.